I had fallen deep into drugs, specifically marijuana. I had become so dependent on it to drown out the thoughts, to drown out everything. The only time that I could get along with him and have a decent conversation with him without any arguments in our home was when we were high off of weed. I had become dependent on alcohol. Hi, my name is Shimona and I just want to share with you as to how God has changed my life. So I had met this guy when I was 16 years old, and we started dating. Within a few months of getting into the relationship, I had clearly heard the Lord say to me to leave that relationship. I immediately went out and called him and ended it off. Within a few weeks, I was back into the relationship and back into what I was comfortable with. By the time I was 17, I was pregnant with my son, and shortly after my son was born, we had moved in together. From there, everything had just went completely downhill. It was a very toxic relationship in many different ways, mentally abusive, emotionally abusive, and at times even physically abusive. It brought out a lot of anger within me, and it turned me into something and someone that I was not. I knew it wasn't who I was, and I knew this wasn't where I should be, but I couldn't do it within my own strength. It was a very toxic relationship, not just on his part, also on my part. It had changed me, it had changed who I was, and it made me lose my sense of value and my sense of worth. I had fallen deep into drugs, specifically marijuana. I had become so dependent on it to drown out the thoughts, to drown out everything. The only time that I could get along with him and have a decent conversation with him without any arguments in our home was when we were high off of weed. I had become dependent on alcohol. I had just begun to party like it was going out of style, partying 3 times a week in just complete excessiveness. It was very bad. The arguments in our house were to the point where the police were called on us many times, and I was fearful that maybe one day child services would show up and I might lose my child because of this, but I didn't know how to get out. I was at one of our youth night services at my previous church one night, and I clearly heard the Lord say to me to leave him. Again, this is the second time that I would have clearly heard the Lord say to leave him. And I remember just breaking down completely and saying, I can't do it, I can't do it, I won't do it. I had this fear of wondering what other people would think. How could I leave him? He's the father of my son. I don't want to leave him and not be able to keep my family together. I don't want to leave him because he's my first. I don't want to have to go and I don't know what else is in store for me. I don't want to be a single mom. I don't want to be a mother with children from different fathers. And I had all of these false fears of mainly what other people would think about me, and that kept me bound in this toxic and abusive relationship. I couldn't leave within my own strength, but I knew it was something I needed to do, but I didn't want to do it because I felt like this is what was for me. I didn't understand how and why God would want me to leave something that I loved so much. I had grown up in the church, but during that time I had just completely forgotten about God. I was even upset with God that he would want me to leave this relationship that I was so comfortable with, and I didn't understand. Throughout the summer of 2017, God slowly started reeling me back in. I had this desire just to start going to church again. So I started periodically here and there going to church services. The Lord was speaking to me. I started listening to sermons online, and the Lord would definitely start speaking to me and started building me back up from where I was in such a low place. I was completely broken. I lost my sense of identity. I lost who I completely was, and I was just entangled in this web of darkness. One night, it was September 9th of 2010, throughout the summer, after I started going back to church, I was just scrolling through Instagram, and I saw this post from my old church that had said, baptisms tomorrow. And I just heard the Lord say to me, you're getting baptized tomorrow. And I didn't understand because I had been living this life of sin. I was in this relationship and I was comfortable with where I was at, but I knew I needed to leave, but I couldn't do it. And I didn't understand why the Lord had told me I would get baptized tomorrow, because usually, to my understanding, is you have to go through this whole set of procedures and you have to, prepare for baptism. But the Lord had said to me, you're getting baptized tomorrow. So I got up the next morning, September 10th, 2017. I got ready and I went to church, and I was just telling God on the way, if I'm really supposed to get baptized, they're going to call me up to that baptism tank, and that's how it's going to be done. As I was sitting in service that day, they went through one set of baptisms, and the pastor had done a call for anyone to come to get baptized, and I sat there still as a rock. And he did another set of baptisms, and they called again, and I knew that this was my time, and my time was now. So I had went with tears in my eyes, and I said, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know how I'm doing this, but I know this is what I need to do. And it was at that moment I had given my life to the Lord. Within 1 month, 30 days, by October 10th of 2017, the Lord had strengthened me to the point where I was able to take my son and myself and leave that relationship. We got our own place. Since then, I have had stability, I have had joy, I have had an abundance of peace, an abundance of wealth, and not just wealth in finances, wealth in happiness, wealth in peace, wealth in joy, and wealth in every aspect. Giving my life to the Lord that day was the best decision that I could have ever made. What took me 6 years to try and figure out on my own, once I just said, God, I know I need you, it took 1 month and he broke every chain. Living on my own, you think that I would be in a worse situation financially, but no, I have an abundance, I have more. I'm able to provide for myself, I'm able to provide for my son, and I'm able to do all the things that I wanted to do before, but I wasn't able to. It was like I was spending more money then than I am now. I have begun to excel in my career. I've received promotion after promotion. I have a better relationship with my son. I have a better relationship with my family. And most importantly, I have a better relationship with myself. I know who I am. I know my purpose. I know where I'm going, and I know why I'm here. We have a heavenly Father who loves us, and regardless of our understanding of that, he loves you, regardless as to whether you know it, you believe it, or not. He still loves you, and he just wants you to open up your heart and allow him in to show and display that love to you in whatever way you need. For those of you who may be in a relationship and scared to leave and wondering why I need to leave, how I need to leave, I don't know how to get out of this, just know that God's plans for you and his thoughts for you are greater than anything you could ever want for yourself. What I wanted for myself was so much, it was so much less than what God had prepared for me on the other side of that. Just open up your heart to God. He's knocking at your heart. Just let him in. All you have to do is just say, God, I need your help. I can't do this on my own. I'm at this point. I'm weak. I've lost my sense of identity, and I just need you to help me and lift me back up. That's all you need to do. So I dare you to try Jesus, and I promise you won't regret it.